real quick, I'm going to give you an overview of the steps that you are going to use on your very next sales call, and then I will take you into each and every point. So, what you want to do is when you get them on the phone, when you get a potential client on the phone, you want to establish how the call goes. So, you just say simply, this is how the call goes, and you're going to explain what is going to happen on the call. Number two, you're going to ask them what caused you to reach out to me about whatever it is that you do. A copywriting project, a web design project. What caused you to reach out to me about coaching you or consulting for your company on this particular project? Third, you're going to ask the pain question, which I'll give you an example of. Fourth, you're going to ask the potential client, how does that make you feel? What we're doing here is really probing into the emotion of why they are contacting you. Fifth, you're going to ask, what other solutions have you tried? Then you're going to share some case studies pertinent to the matter at hand. And then finally, you're going to let them ask their questions. All right, so let's take this step by step. For point number one, establishing the agenda of how the call goes. This is what I do when I get on the phone with a potential client. I tell them, hey, thanks for reaching out. Glad to talk. This is how the call goes. I'm going to ask you some questions to determine if and how I can help. Then I'll tell you what I have available. Then you can ask me any questions. And when we're done, I'll ask if everything is clear. Does that sound fair? And 9 out of 10 times they'll say yes. So then you just proceed to the next point. I'll say, okay, so what was it that caused you to reach out to me about business coaching or copywriting or consulting for your company for this particular project? And they will share their thoughts. They will give their reasoning as to why they contacted me. And hopefully they'll give their reasoning as to why they contacted you, and you let them talk. And based on what they respond with, you ask them a pain question. Oftentimes, my clients or my potential clients will say, I reached out to you, Mike, because we're not hitting the revenue numbers that we really want to. Or they'll say, I'm not really seeing traction in my coaching or consulting or personal brand business. Or they'll say, I'm just not making enough money. And then I'll probe with the second point, which is a pain question. So I'll just ask them flatly, what is your income right now? How much do you need to make? Or how many people do you need to grow your email list by? Probe with a pain question. It's really difficult to do this, but I'm telling you, it's necessary. And you're not manipulating them. Here's why. Because if they weren't in pain, they wouldn't be on the call with you in the first place. All you're doing is reminding them of the emotion that they feel or the reason for which they reached out to you in the first place. So don't be afraid to ask that pain question. Here's where we're going to dig a little bit deeper. Third, you're going to ask them, tell me more about that. How does that make you feel? So let's say there is an income gap between where they are now and where they need to be, or some sort of gap in the size of their company or their growth or a metric such as their email list. I deal with a lot of clients that want to grow their email lists and want me to help them with their marketing. So I'll ask them, so between where you are now and where you want to be, how much money do we need to make? And I use the word we because I want them to know that I'm in it with them. We're partners. I want to help them. I want to walk with them, not just for them or do something to them. I want to walk with them. Tell me about that. How does that make you feel? You have 10 people on your email list and you want to be at 1,000. How does that make you feel? And they said, I feel terrible, Mike. I feel like I don't know what I'm doing. I feel like I'm spinning my wheels in the mud. And what you want to do is tap into the emotion that they're feeling. That's really important because at this point, your prospective client just doesn't want to get ripped off. Honestly, they just don't want to get ripped off. So what they're doing on this call is they've got all these filters up. And it's not your job to press through and break through all the filters. I'm not telling you to be a bull in a china shop. What I'm asking you to do by asking this question is to lean into the very emotions that they're feeling because you're going to bring relief. You're going to bring resolution to those feelings. So tell me more about that. How does that make you feel? And they'll share. Then I'll ask, what are some of the ways you've tried to step out in this and find your own solution? That's the way that I'll word it sometimes. And what I'm trying to do is trying to help them take stock and recollect all the other things that they've tried and why those things haven't worked. Again, we're digging a little bit deeper into the emotion as to why they're contacting me and why that prospective client is talking to you right now. They're hoping that you are the solution. Please take hold of that. That prospective client, when he or she is speaking with you, is rooting for you to be the solution they've been looking for. So it's really important that you give them a roadmap and an overview of what has not worked up to this point and how you can come in and guide them across the gap, right? Guide them through the woods, get them over the chasm, whatever that is. All right, at this point, I'm hearing from the prospective client a number of different things they've tried and that haven't worked. And believe it or not, the call may be 10, 15 minutes long at this point, depending on how long your prospective client talks. This is a good thing. You want them to talk. And you'll notice I haven't done any recommending. I haven't given any advice. I'm just allowing them to get it all out of their system. Now, the next point is where I start stepping in to share what I might be able to do. Here's where I share a little bit of my case studies, my past work, other clients that may be similar to the person I'm talking to right now, and other case studies that may encourage this person that I can truly help. So I say, I worked with this other consultant and I helped her launch her website, and now she is doing XYZ in terms of revenue or profits or whatnot. Or I worked with this other person and helped him grow his email list. And in 45 days, we grew it from 2,000 people to about 8,000 people because of these particular things that we had done. So now I'm sharing case studies and I put names to those people. I'll say the first person, this person I work with, her name was Karen, and we saw these tremendous results. And this other person, he was a coach just like you are, and his name was Keith, and we grew his email list 5-6 times over within just 45 days. And I put names to them and share some of the results that I've had with other clients. Now, at this point, what will often happen is the person you're speaking with and having this call with will say, wow, that sounds really good. That sounds really encouraging. Sounds like you might be able to help. Now, here's where you take things for a little bit of a loop. You just leave the ball in their court. You ask them, do you have any further questions right now? And chances are that they will. They'll ask, I noticed we haven't talked about pricing. We haven't talked about fees. We haven't talked about what the compensation is for your services. And that's when you broach the topic of your fees, what you're going to be charging. Now, if you don't feel you can give them a flat number at that point, depending on the way your business is structured, tell them, here's what I'm going to do. It's been great speaking with you. I'm going to put together a proposal and have it in your inbox within 3 days. And then once you get that, we're going to set aside a time to talk, and I'm going to walk you through the proposal. There are different ways that you can do this. Sometimes if it's a client that I've already worked with and they're re-upping with me, I'll just send them the proposal, and they'll usually have a ballpark idea of what I'm going to charge. And we have such a working relationship to begin with that all I need to do is send them the proposal and they'll pay the fee. Other times, what is even better is if you can say, I'm going to put together a proposal and I'd like to set one more appointment to walk through the proposal with you. And you don't send them the proposal because you never know how they're going to feel when they get that email from you. Maybe they're having a really bad day that then they open up your proposal and they see a number that freaks them out, and now the deal is off. So a lot of different ways to do it, but here's where you ask them if they have any further questions and allow that topic to be broached naturally. Okay, to recap, number one, this is how the call goes, or you tell them this is how the call goes. You ask, what caused you to reach out to me about this particular topic? Ask the pain question. Ask them how that makes them feel. Ask what other solutions they've tried. Share case studies. Let them ask their questions. And you'll be amazed at how easy and efficient and ethical your sales calls will go.